Okay, we're going to do something different today. So I'm going to go on a YouTube rant. I'm not going to totally lose my mind, just part of it. So YouTube always say ask specific questions. So my question today to YouTube is, I've asked a lot of questions in my lifetime. It doesn't mean that I'm going to always get the answer. My question to YouTube is, why are you locking content creators in certain age categories? I listen to a lot of content creators, and my thing is they have some excellent material. I've learned from a lot of these content creators, and vice versa. I've went on their live streams. Um, they were very respectful. They listened to me. I listened to them. I've told them if they need any help, call me back. I would be more than willing to come back to their live stream. But what I don't understand is that I feel that YouTube and the back end, when you put those numbers across there, you don't give certain content creators the opportunity for their material to be heard across the board. And that sets a person up for failure. Okay, so in my 65 years plus, I listen to content creators from A Diary of a CEO, Roberta Blake, Anton Daniels, The Lead Attorney, Lewis Howes, 19 Keys, Gary V, MT Aura, Earn Your Leisure, O'Shea Duke Jackson, and Think Media. That list goes on. And I've learned a lot because I'm willing to adapt and accept change. So I got somebody here today that knows me pretty well that that can show you my back end. So I'm going to switch it over to that person. Here we go. My guest today is Kendall Garrett. And Kendall, I'd like for you to tell them about your channel and why you're on YouTube.
Hi, I'm Kendall Garrett. I'm from KG Television. I'm a health advocate for mental health. And the reason I started the YouTube channel back in September 22 is to help people like myself who suffer from depression, PTSD, and other mental issues. And I hope that they have a better understanding that it's okay to have your downtime.
Okay. Kendall, we work together on a lot of jobs together. Do you ever recall me working with any people in my age group?
Now, most of the people that you worked with was 65 and under, basically, younger age group.
Okay. And why was I put with younger people?
Well, people that were 65 plus, they were set in their ways, known as stagnant thinking. They didn't want to adapt, transform their way of thinking. It's kind of like it was their way, the highway, versus you. You wanted to learn. You adapted. You gave us a chance to give ideals. And it was not like, I'm your elder, shut up. And this is my way.
All right. Can you tell the audience anything about my particular style?
Your particular style is unconventional, meaning you're willing to admit that you're wrong versus people who are 65 plus, they don't want to admit they're wrong. You're given, you give knowledge, you give a helping hand, you give us a time to show our value, which on the job that we work together, we had bosses that were so narcissistic. They didn't care what you think. It's kind of like, I'm the manager, do as I say. That idea of going to work is out the window.
So I basically believed in a lot of promoting the younger people, and I didn't ever feel like they were a threat to my job because I kind of felt like I wanted to train them really well and they could take my job, and I wanted them to be in the best that they could be. So could you tell them about my mindset?
Your mindset's ahead of the time. You wasn't in the mindset like back in the day. I remember they brought the machine in called Bob, and Bob was supposed to get rid of the people 65 plus. Now, the problem with Bob, it kind of backfired because you're the one who learned Bob quicker than the younger people.
And so in my having the opportunity to learn, Bob, because my biggest stretch on that was they wanted to set me up. They wanted me out of there. They brought in the technology so that they could say it could be a challenge and my job was over. But my thing was, if I could learn this machine, I could teach the younger people. And then when I go out, I would feel really proud that, you know, of their achievements, that what they had learned from me. So, like I say, I believe in younger people coming in, hearing their voices, being heard, not being left out, not being excluded, but included. And one of the things that I always stress is never let anyone take your dream away. You know, be the best that you can be. And all the time, you're not going to be fine. You know, I didn't like comparing people to each other. I wanted them to have the opportunity to say, hey, all of us is different and unique in our own ways. What do you think about my learning mode?
Your learning mode is more of a leading versus managing. What I mean by management versus leading, management, they dictate and delegate. They don't want to get their hands dirty. Your style is you're in the trenches. Not only you're delegating, but you're also in the trenches with us, doing the job that if we need help on, it's not like you're back in the office. You were with us in the field. Plus, too, with management, it's like the mindset was narrow-minded. They didn't want to open their minds to new ideas. They were more textbook, more traditional, more conventional, versus not you being non-traditional, unconventional, and you were more flexible with everyone's way of learning, because everyone got a different way of learning. It's not one size fits all, known as the cookie cutter effect.
Um, Another thing that I struggle with is people that were expert. I kind of, and I hear that a lot on YouTube because you have a lot of people on YouTube that say they're experts that haven't lived any of the things that a lot of the young people have went through, but yet and still, it's kind of like the psychiatrist effect that, you know, you're a psychiatrist, you've not looked at any brain scans, you know, but yet and still you have this title. You've not had these younger people suffering or went through any of the things that they're went to, not willing to learn their music, not willing to hear their voice, not willing to give them an opportunity to, you know, express themselves. You made a lot of people just invisible and you made them feel like you didn't care. And that was where I felt like uh, I wanted to come to YouTube and say, hey, regardless if I was a baby boomer, you know, whatever age, my mind wasn't set as a baby boomer, you know, because I've always tried to continue to learn, and I wanted all the young people around me to feel comfortable and to feel like they could talk to me. So, Kendall, you tell them about the safe house.
Um, Safe house, but back to the expert is you have to live it. And the problem with some of the experts that claim to be experts, they have all these degrees and accolades, and it's like the degrees and accolades overshadow of the human emotion and humanity. And with the safe house, not only myself, but a lot of people I worked with um, came to my mom and asked for advice. They didn't fear her because they felt safe. She wasn't going to call them dumb, stupid, or shut them down. She always asked some questions like, what do you want to do tonight? Or how you feeling? Is there anything you need help with? Do you need anything else? And they didn't feel like my mom was just a supervisor, but they could come to her as a person, like a mentor, and she mentors them. And by just talking to them, they just feel more at ease, and the night went easy for them.
Um, I think sometimes, and this is what has happened to YouTube, they're so busy pushing out quantity and we're not getting the full effects of quality. I don't want my life to be full of a bunch of things. My life at this point, at 65 plus, the OG or whatever you want to call me, should be about quality. I want the younger people out here in the community life to be about quality, because we've lost a lot of young people. They're dying at an unbelievable rate. And in my heart, I want them to, yes, I want them to get their bag, but I want them to be healthy and living a good quality of life with their bag.
The sad thing is, the bar had been raised. It was first people was checking out at 18. Then the bar was raised to 27. They were down at 27. Then there's the 50 club, like Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Prince. They were checking out at 50. The problem is why we have to live like Fast and the Furious and Die Hard lives. We should live the quality of life, not quantity.
We need to have people in my age bracket able to listen to our young people. They need to be heard. Their voices need to be heard. I struggle also with even doctors who, when you go, you at 18 seconds, you out. They're crushing you and saying they don't want to hear what they got to say, and that's your life. And you should be advocating for your life. Every pill, anything that they're trying to push on you, you need to be heard. You know, I don't want to go into a crowd of people and say we got all this material and we're the experts, and you got a bunch of people over here that feel like they have something to express, and you won't let them express it because of the push out, the all this information that you need out here. It's not helping our young people. It's not, and I'm gonna tell you, as a matter of fact, I can't even tell you or even count the funerals that I've been to. And as a matter of fact, I'm kind of tired of burying young people. That's not a good feeling for me at all. I don't want to see my sons go before me, and I have lost children before me. I know what that's like, and that's horrific, And it's horrific when I see young people get on YouTube, expose themselves, do the things that they do, what, for a like, a dislike, and they can't validate themselves. They're not able to spend time with themselves. What the hell is that about? You know,
To answer your question, is in today's society of technology, AI, it's about validation. And where we fell at as human beings is self-validation, self-worth, self-preservation, and find out who we are as an individual in a society, in a community. Yes, we all live in a community, but in that community, we have to understand that we are also individuals. We have our own thoughts, our own feelings, our own emotions, dreams. But it's kind of hard to capitalize on those dreams when you have people giving the pushback saying, I'm the expert. I know what's best for you. I went to Harvard. I went to Yale. What degree you got? But like Ms. Ballard said, the expert who lives it, that makes the expert. You don't have to go to these big time colleges or get like a PhD. If you live it, then you are the expert. And the thing with YouTube that's very disturbing, over the past 2 years that I was on, there's certain words that you that more like politically, correctness. Like you have to use self-deletion. You have to use grave. Why you can't call it a spade a spade? Say what it is, because people out here, this is not no a rainbow and unicorns and kitty cats and all this stuff. This is real life, and people out here are not only my mom's age group, my age group, people younger are suffering from this, but we're afraid that even YouTube demonetize people for saying what's out there, the real and the true.
The sad thing is, and going in as a cancer survivor, which I'm no longer in surviving mode, I'm in the mode of actually maintaining my life, my health, because we're so used to being lied to. It is horrific when you sit in a doctor's office and he tells you, and that ugly word that everybody fears hearing is cancer. When you hear that word, you're so used to being lied to that a lot of people can't cope because we're so busy, you know, put prettying things up, colorizing things. And it's horrible. And people need to hear the truth because when you get that diagnosis, then you got to sit there and figure out, how am I going to get out of this? You're so used to being lied to. What are you going to do?
Well, people who are used to, well, like my brother, shout out to be at the slap, smoothie a lie, meaning people are so used to being lied to that it's easier to swallow the pill of the lie than swallow the pill of the truth. When I was growing up, I remember my dad always telling me, "Oh, you got no room to cry," or "You got to man up." And for thousands of years, and a lot of reason why a lot of men have committed sideways is because that societal pressure that we can't show emotions, we cannot cry, we just have to man up, and that there's no room to show emotion. But the problem with that is, where's the humanity? That just shows sociopath and psychopathic behavior. Well, not always behavior, but tendencies as well also lead to the tendencies of narcissism.
One of the things, I was listening to one of the content creators, O'Shea Duke Jackson, and he mentioned on his stream that men don't have anywhere to turn to. They don't develop the friends and relationships of other men where they can go to them and talk. And I think that's absolutely horrible. That's why we're losing a lot of young people today because those relationships aren't being built. We're not bridging the gap. We're actually blowing up the bridge.
And the reason why we're blowing up the bridge is based on the word trust. And in the last few weeks, there's a lot of messery or fuckery that have been happening on YouTube where people just don't want to go on each other's streams because they feel like they're going to get set up for failure, or something is going to come out of woodwork that was supposed to be a secret, but it's no secret anymore, because nowadays it's not about quality of content, it's about quantity. And it's more about, if you expose this content creator, you get monetized quickly, versus you come out with something educational. It's a slow process.
Going into the next month, on May 5th, I actually came to YouTube last year, and a brilliant young man, excellent content creator, Kevin Samuels, passed away on May 5th. And the thing that was so disturbing to me was I was looking, as they say in the YouTube streets, to go to get up on a live stream that made me feel comfortable. I didn't think about the ages, and I actually went up on a live stream, and the people, Gail at Night, welcomed me on her stream. She's an excellent content creator, wonderful person. And all the young people up there were just absolutely heartbroken because of the loss of Kevin Samuels. May 5th coming will be into a year of Kevin Samuels' loss. Here we are back. A year has almost passed, and several of the young men on YouTube, which were content creators, have passed away. And the it's the respect. Well, there's no respect because I've never seen where people are glad to see people die and express it in the form that they do. That's absolutely horrible. And these are all ages across the board. I my feeling about YouTube is that if you're going to address something, if you're going to push about getting the likes and the dislikes. There are other things that you need to address. And don't set the content creators up for failure. Show their information across the board. Let their voices be heard. That's what I want to see. Because, like I said, my bottom line is I don't like people sitting up on YouTube calling themselves the expert, sending out a bunch of BS. Because my feeling is, if you haven't lived it, then don't speak on it. And if you live it, and no matter how it runs itself out, then if you die from it or something else, you were that expert.
Like Gary Vee said, don't show no fear. But here's the thing about showing no fear. You got a voice, you got a choice. You speak on it. If you've been through the experience, come up. I mean, for real, because a lot of people in war, there's no heroes or villains, there's casualties. There's so many casualties. People are lost because there's no answers, because we're beefing over little stuff. It's like in the mental sphere, we're focusing on mental health and the different parts of the brain, dietary, and diagnosis. You're not alone. It's okay to have a sad day. It's okay to cry. It's okay to have a bad day. But what's not okay is when someone pass away, and it just shocked me on YouTube about Kevin Samuels. You have people in the church celebrating his death and saying, "Hallelujah, he's gone." I'm like, whoa. If we're supposed to be Christians, we're not supposed to celebrate someone's passing because you have a disagreement on their views. Everyone is entitled to an opinion. Everyone's entitled to their thoughts, and everyone is entitled to their dreams. Agree to disagree, but don't celebrate because of their demise. Kevin Samuels, brilliant content creator, yeah, he had different views, but he's just trying to help people. He wasn't trying to sugarcoat or lie to people. He was just saying, hey, if you want this type of person, you need to change the way you dress. Hey, you need to change your attitude. Hey, you need to have some way in finances. But to celebrate someone's demise, it's this words are taking me back why? Because we're all human here, and we're all on YouTube, and the platform is huge.
And getting back to the age, even though Kevin Samuels was 10 years younger, I listened to his material. I listened to the young lady that they're sparring with now at, was it Pearly Things? I listened to her content. I listen to a lot of content out here. I may not always agree with people's certain content, but the thing is, I don't ever recall ever shopping, going into the mall, walking up to a stand, saying that, hey, you got a rack that I can buy a dress off of for 68 years of age. That's not the way life works. Life doesn't work that way. I don't think anybody from another country, China or Japan, I don't think people ask them, well, how long do you want to live? They just keep living. They just keep going. But when you look at our platforms, people are constantly saying, I want to live to be this age. I want the longevity. You would have the longevity if you treated people right. If you didn't try to put everybody in a box, put people in certain categories, we would run that marathon. But we're too busy concerned about what somebody else got. How old is that person? Should I listen to them because they may be too old? I mean, they have respect for their elders in other countries. We lock our elders up. We throw the key away.
Yeah, we medicate our elders. When I learned about, I don't know, is the algorithm, but I'm going to say the word stats. The stats are so discriminatory that there's a stat from 13 to 17, 18 to 24, 25 to 35, 45 to 65, and 65 plus. Why can't the content be stretched across the board instead of locking the content creator in, because you lock them up for failure? If you want content, YouTube, then set no borders. Get rid of that stat, because sometimes that stat is not always accurate.
Like when Gary said about fear, it's about you're scared about people can post. No, that's not the greatest fear, Gary V. The fear is when you go back there and you look, and content creators is like, shit, I'm not being heard. I'm not being heard. My content is not going across. I don't have no problem with the camera, you know. I don't have no problem with no self-esteem. I never have. Even when I was on my job, I got in people's faces and like, you're not going to shut me down. I will be heard.
And back to your learning style and how you deal with people. Versus the younger people, we had problems taking a stand for ourselves because the managers had this mentality: I am the manager, you do what I say, be quiet. Ms. Ballard, she held no punches. She let those punches fly. She wasn't taking no one's BS, and she gave the truth. And if you didn't like the truth, then disclaimer: don't ask her. If you don't want the answer, don't ask her. If you want to be lied to, go to the right.
And I wanted to do this video because I had stepped back for a while. A young man had came to me and had told me that he had cancer. And I had done a video on that. And then I kind of stepped back again because I know that there was a lot of things going on in YouTube. And I didn't want to get in that space of, of all the animosity and all the things that was happening. But, my spin on that is vet your people better, give the young people a chance to be heard. Don't set that line where you saying this is the age that's listening to you. Hell, if Elon Musk's mother can get out there at her age and still be a supermodel, there you have it. And like I said, I want the young people to be heard. I want to hear their voices, because when in my time, our voices weren't heard. We were supposed to be seen and not heard, which set us up for corporate failure. And the tragic thing about that is, you go on those jobs and they didn't care. Like the narrative is, you could be a Ku Klux Klan. You could be anything, but don't bring it on a job. But after the hours, do your thing. But that even came out. And you got younger people now, that's listening to a lot of things that's the misinformation that's out here. The things that they cannot say. We're still taking things away from them. They feel punished. They feel like they're not going to be heard because of their age. When I hear seniors my age say, well, it's always been done that way. Well, it's a new day. And we need to change the way we do things. Doctors say that now, and we got the worst healthcare system in the world. The worst. Because what? They don't hear their patients. They're not willing to change. And change should be across the board. It shouldn't be done by age. A baby can teach you something. If you bring a baby into your house, the first thing you put that child on the floor, he'll show you all the dangers that can happen to him, because you're not used to that. You didn't think about to plug those sockets up. That baby is teaching you, you know what? I'm going to put my head in this cabinet. I'm going to eat this soap. Ooh, this look like Kool-Aid under this cabinet. And you're learning from that baby the dangers and the things that you should have moved out. And to me, like I said, Everybody is a teacher, regardless of what their age is. The back end of YouTube, that's tragic. That's tragic.
The tragic thing about the back end, there's two words: investing and contributing. Investing, you give like wisdom, a trade. It doesn't always have to be monetary for investment, but as you just giving something to help that person. Contribution could be, are you part of the problem or the solution? Now, the last few weeks of YouTube have been contribution of not solutions, but problems. Instead of squashing the beef, it has been ongoing. Agree to disagree. This person got their view on relationships. That person got their view on relationships. Come together and just call it a day.
I kind of like the way Anton Daniels said, and I have respect for a lot of the young men on YouTube, MTR, Daniels, the lead attorney. They give credit where credit is due, and I hate to see the division. I hate to see a white YouTube, a black YouTube. It should be YouTube. It should be, but it's not. It doesn't feel that way. And I had said, if I came to YouTube, because when I started out making my videos and pushing the YouTube strategy, then I got to looking at this and I'm like, you know what, this reminds me of something, and this doesn't feel good. This isn't healthy. You can get those vid summits. You can get all those Zooms, but Zoom some people in there and get some counseling going, because it's a lot of this has pushed a lot of people over the edge. It really has. All age groups, all. And it's because so much is being taken away. So much is being taken away. That's why it's hard to stay on a diet. As soon as you start taking certain foods away, there goes the diet. There goes the diet. You're not gonna be successful in it. So my thing to YouTube, my rant today, when I look back there on that back end, I said, you know what? I'm going to make this video. I'm going to have somebody come on that knows me pretty well. I can have other people that come on that knows me, because I'm about not the BS. I'm about having people be heard, regardless of what age you are. I figured like I can learn from a lot of people, and I have learned a lot from a lot of the content creators, and I respect them. And I want YouTube to give them that respect also, but they have not done that. And it has really pissed me off. It has pissed me off. And I think they need to do a better job. The validation is right up on that board where you see like, dislike, where people get money, their what they call it, their super chats and things like that. But to me, I just want YouTube to realize some of the things. Take a closer look at what they're doing. Take a closer look and hear the voices of their influencers, of their content creators. If you got people on there that saying they the expert and they don't know what the hell they talking about, you need to get them out of there, because these young people have heard enough, and they've died. We've lost so many people because of what? Misinformation. I've seen more suicides than a little bit because of misinformation, because of the so-called expert. The expert. I respect that drunk on the corner who can tell me about his life, tell me about the liquor, or the junkie down the street, or whoever. I respect them because that's what they're living. They're living that out. And they're younger and younger. I've sit up and seen people die of fatty liver disease. Young people. They're not out here drinking. They just got bad food. that's causing these problems. And you're not too young to die. So you shouldn't, I don't know how you're going to fix that, but that needs to be looked at. And I want YouTube to go in and do something about that. Maybe I'm asking for too much, but you got to understand, I'm one of the OGs that's older than Think Media, than Omar Atikari, than Sean Cannell. I'm older than Diary of a CEO. I'm older, but my mind, I don't have that mindset. I want what's best and what's right and the respect for these creators, these young content creators. And if they need help managing any type of mental illness, because it looks like the longer they stay on here, the worse they get, then reach out and create something that can help them also.
And I remember this. Even to this day, you always said, if you're a rotten mofo, I would not help you. And you always help those that want to be helped, but at the same time, they're not up doing no shady stuff. Also, too, you was not the struggling parent. You was the parent that was willing to compromise and open up to new ideals. Versus dad, he was the struggling parent because it wasn't that he didn't love us. He did love us, but he had his own issues to deal with from being a Vietnam War vet, suffering from PTSD, abuse from his own family, and at the same time, looking at growing up as a kid, coming onto YouTube. YouTube is kind of the struggling parent because you bring up these experts who just regurgitate numbers, but they haven't lived the numbers. You bring up these people who say, "Hey, I've been to Harvard, I've been to Yale," but if you're only, what is good as a piece of paper if you have not lived it? Now, life is short, and are we truly living life, or we're easily saying it's time to check out? I did a short called Raison d'être. It was coined by the French in 1868. It's meaning purpose of living or justification of existence. And with all this discord, this hashing back and forth, are we living the quality of life or the raison d'etre?
Well, I'm glad that, that you came on here tonight and gave them the back end, some of the back end of me, because, when I see something going wrong, I'm just not going to let it just roll by, I've met people and I see their sadness. I see their hurt. I've already lived what they're living now. I get it. I understand it, and I think if we're going to scrutinize anything, we should take a deeper dive into some of the content creators. And if they need help, then maybe there should be an umbrella of help for the content creators, regardless of what age they are, what category you put them in, or what category you take them out of, because there's been quite a bit of damage, and somebody needs to come in and look and do some damage control, and we don't need to have a civil war on YouTube. We don't need that. We don't need that division. Maybe the numbers are good for you, but we've had enough of the hatred, and it needs to stop. It needs to stop. And it shouldn't be just, oh, we're going to stop it at age 17 to 24. We're not going to show this to X, Y, and Z. That is crazy. Because, like I said, the bottom line is, across the board, everybody needs to hear it. Everybody needs to hear it. And I don't really feel that YouTube has addressed it because of those numbers, those likes, those dislikes, the validation. If you can't come on YouTube and you don't have the validation within yourself, we know how that's going to hold up for that person. They're going to crash and burn.
It don't end well at all.
You know, it's not going to end well. We've been on those jobs. We've been on the brick and mortar side. And to come over here and to see the same crap happening, come on.
It's ridiculous.
You know, they flip things around so many times. And I had said, okay, if I get to a point where I'm looking at something and I'm seeing the danger of this, then I would speak out. And they don't like people that speak out. And I understand that. I paid for that on another job, on several jobs. They don't want you to speak out. And I don't have no fear of that. I don't have no fear. The problem is when you get to that doctor's office and he flipped that chart over and he tell you you got 6 months and you make it 22 years later, you like hell with what you all talking about. This is what it comes down to. I made it and I'm not backing down. And the fight's on. And if I have to come out here and fight for whatever age bracket, you know, then there it is. Because like I said, they all need to be heard. And their content they have excellent content, but I don't feel like they're getting a fair shake because you're locking their content in, you know, and that's not right.
Another thing that's not right, and you probably remember this when Kevin Samuels passed away back in 2022. It was like the chats was like $5, $2. The content is so excellent. Why give him less than 20? I mean, it's ridiculous. People, when you hear content, be respectful. Give, because it's not every day you hear wisdom.
I was so happy when I go on live streams. The information that I was listening to, I wanted to show love and show support to the content creators because I thought they were doing such a wonderful job. And like I said, coming along in my time, everything was a secret. Secrets bring on chaos. Secrets bring on hatred, you know. And I'm saying, you know, even me making it this far, I don't want to live that anymore. You know, I want to show love and support. I want to be there and let content creators know, hey, you know what? This is just not happening to you. It's happening all over. You know, it's, you know, if a doctor can come in and say that a child has fatty liver. Now, fatty liver, you think, when I hear fatty liver, I think of somebody older than had too much to drink, have drunk itself to silly, haven't taken good care of their health, you know, have destroyed their liver, have destroyed their esophagus because they have, and to hear kids because of we're not giving information about the foods that we eat, that's sad. That's sad. And it, you know, my whole thing, like I said, I really want that information to be spread out. I really hate to see that back in like that. Because I think it's unfair. I know they have to have metrics and say, you know, this is not made for this particular person. They have to be on guard with the, you know, the material that they make. I get that. I get that.
I got a question to ask you. The last 2 years of YouTube that you watched, do you feel like it's been like segregated? Because when you said white YouTube, black YouTube, all these, don't you feel there's segregation among the YouTube space?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a big difference. And if any of the YouTubers on the black side, if they want to call it the black side, get in, it's last house on the left. They don't get the information. They don't get that information. And I don't, that's kind of unfair. I've seen people that started live streams and shot to the top. you know, and I didn't understand that, you know. I mean, there were content creators that's out here that has had excellent information, and it's like their channels just that it's not moving. They don't move.
Now, do you think the reason why the channels is not moving is it because YouTube kind of have a tough restriction on you have to have 4,000 watch hours and then 1,000 subs? Is that part of the reason why content creators are struggling with monetization?
A lot of that could be, but I think a lot of it is connections too. You know, some channels are being pushed heavier than others. Some channels will seem like look like they're being punished. You know, uh, people can't really say what they want to say, and other channels get the opportunity to say what they want to say. You know,
So,
and hell, they age don't have nothing to do with it. That, you know, it's just it's just seemed like it's just an unfairness, you know. And wherever this goes tonight, uh, you know, maybe I'm not I'm not the person. I'm not good at holding back or being Captain Kiss A, because I that's never have been part of my life. Never have. And you know, I know each individual has his own truth. I'm a person like to deal with facts, and even facts change. The facts will change. And as the leads say, you got to make it make sense. And a lot of this that I've seen, it don't make sense. It don't make sense. You know, it just don't. And it's unfair. It is unfair.
I think the reason why is unfair. No, the reason why it's unfair is just the keeping up with the Kardashians, but only on YouTube. Basically, it's like there's kind of like a little camaraderie. Like, I'm gonna get more subs than you. The more subs I get, the more I make. Shouldn't it be more about helping people? Because there's so much discord, distrust, that we forget what life is truly about. But we're so busy, like the word that a content creator said, making the bag. But where's the bag when you're not alive? Where's the bag when you don't have friends? Where's the bag when you don't know yourself?
Um, and it's kind of like the views and like you say, the views and the subs. I've been on channels, and hell, somebody might think I have a lousy channel. That's fine. I get it, you know, and I can understand you may not want to hear about health. That's fine. You know, but I've been to channels and I'm trying to figure out why the hell, you know, what's going on here, because this content is not really good, you know. But you know, it just seemed like they're pushing out quantity over quality, and we need quality because we don't need any more misinformation, and we don't need a bunch of misinformation. We need the facts. The facts. And like I say, the facts changes over time, you know. And we need people that can mindset will change too. You know, like I said, maybe I'm considered a OG. Maybe you want to lock me into 65 plus. Uh, I've never had a mind of 65 plus.
No, your mindset was more of of the younger generation. You was in hip with the. See, I'm not a big time Cardi B fan, but you knew most of the Cardi B songs and some of the terms. Because I remember when we went on Gail's live stream, and some of the younger content creators saying, "Oh, she don't know what we're talking about." Surprise, surprise. She dropped some of the terminology, and they're like, "Oh my word, where did she come from, and how old is she?" Her mindset is sharp and transparent. Like I said, if you want to ask something, you can go and get the facts. If you want to be lied to, go somewhere else. But that's the problem with the division and segregation, is because like the people who are considered elders, they're kind of like, they don't want to grow. They don't want to learn something. They kind of like, they felt like they reached a milestone, and that's it. Versus my mom, she's always learning. She's always changing. She keeps telling me about change. And I'm 40. I'm gonna be 44. No, 45 this month, and she still tell me that change is good.
And that's another thing with YouTube shorts. Really, you really think I want my mind to be short? That's kind of dangerous. I mean, that's what they like, but you know, the attention span, like they said, have gotten so short, and that's a shame because then what would be my struggle? My struggle would be to try to remember as much as I can, so my mind won't get short, so I won't be placed in dementia or Alzheimer's or something like that. I'm not trying to be short, you know, but that's what they're pushing, shorts, you know, but these guys haven't reached my age. But even if you get here, and I really, really hope that a lot of young people get here and beyond that, beyond my age, I really hope that you can adapt to the changes, you know, and that's what's good for the mind, to continue to learn, to continue to grow, to continue to be open-minded, to continue to listen, you know. But that's not what I see right now. I don't see that. I see total chaos. And I'm addressing it because, like I said, it's something, it's the shutdown, it's the breaking off of the age, it's the locking in, and that's not good. That's not good. And like I said, I understand your metric of far as certain ages can't hear certain thing, but these kids get on the internet and they hear all they see. You ain't got to put it. They out here in the street early, and they see all of this that's going on. You know,
And
they see it.
and they duplicate it in a
Yeah,
mass rate.
they absolutely. You know, so you're not really hiding anything from them by just not saying certain words. You know, the thing about it is bring it out, tell the truth, you know, or you know, give the facts.
Right, because this is the World Wide Web, and this is what social media is. Like, there was something about back in the late '90s. They was talking about the Freaknik, about the parties that was going down the ATL. Surprise, 20 years later, a lot of stuff is coming out. So basically, what you think you're doing by covering some words up or video, it's on the web.
So, you know, like I said, I'm glad that, you know, I had my rant. I'll probably have another rant. Or YouTube will probably be saying, take her channel down or whatever, and I don't fear that either. But I just, the transparency has been terrible. It's been absolutely awful. And I just feel that I've already lived a lot of this. You know, when I'm talking to content creators, I'm thinking, dear God, I hope they make it through. You know, because they're really suffering. You know, and they don't have the people to go to. They, you know, like I said, you got all these big Zoom and big conferences, but some of these conferences need to be geared toward social media, mental illness, or whatever you want to call it. But you need to set up something in that neighborhood for your content creators because it's a lot that has happened on here, and it hasn't benefited the content creators. It is not good for them, you know, and a lot of people are pulling away, you know. So all the money that people want to make, and they get to my age, they'll look back and say, God, we lost a lot of time. We lost our families, you know, that marriage that I could have had. All that's gone, you know, because I was pushing toward that certain number, that certain like, that certain dislike. You know, I wanted all this validation, You know, I was trying to get into like that group, that age group, and that's pretty sad. That's pretty sad. And I just, like I said, going back to your back end, when I look at those analytics, when I look at that age, um, I'm not, I'm not angry for being locked in, because like I said, one time I had numbers, and then I guess they saying, well, maybe you don't post enough, or maybe you don't do this. But I know in my heart that I'm going to reach out to a lot of the young content creators. I'm going to reach out, and I have always reached out to younger people. That's uh, an area that I feel very comfortable with. Um, and I've reached out to a lot of people in my age group, letting them know that, hey, come on, share this knowledge, because that was one of the things that uh, the lead attorney expressed. He said, if you have that knowledge that you could share with people, come to YouTube and share it. And it's hard to share that knowledge when they saying that basically you could only share that knowledge with 65 plus. That's some crap, because a lot of these young people need to hear what I have experienced. They should not have to pay for what I've already suffered. They should not. And if it's something that I can give them, and like I say, I'm missing some body parts, you better believe I can give them a lot of knowledge on procedures to take, procedures to avoid, going in fighting for your life, being an advocate for your life. You know, I could give them that knowledge. I'm not here to hurt, to destroy, but what I am here for is changes. If you can make changes with AI, and they could come up with all this things that's regurgitated, or that they draw up in an instant, then I think that I can come up, and if it's faster, fine. But the life experience, I can come up with a lot, and there are other people in my age bracket that can come up with a lot too. I don't want these YouTubers, content creators hurt. I don't like to see what I'm seeing now. Like I said, I lived that on the brick and mortar side. I didn't come to this side for that, you know. And somebody might say, well, you may not be built for it. I can say I lasted this long, and I can move forward. And that's what I want to do. So this has been a good rant for me. And Kendall, I really, really appreciate you coming on and speaking in my behalf.
Yeah, no problem. We're a team. I mean, even at work, when there was no one for us, we had each other's back.
And that's what I'd like to see on YouTube. People have each other's back, and people support each other, and people be there to develop friends and relationships. That's something that I would really like to see. But like I said, if they're gonna create a big YouTube fest, then I think that they could incorporate some of the strategies and coping skills for the content creators to get to a better level of wellness in the mental aspect, and wellness in the health aspect. Because once again, mental health is brain health. And if the brain is sick, you can't separate the two. If the brain is sick, then the body is going to be sick also. And so I'm going to close this out. Thank you. Did you want to say something else, Kendall?
Go out to the men and women. Just bury the hatchet and come together, because at the end of the day, we're going to be needing each other, like it or not.
Well, on that note, go ahead.
And we'll sign off for the night.
Okay.
God bless.